Hello and welcome to The Upside. I'm your host, Emily Ananuevo. The retirement landscape for Canadians is changing. Questions like what age to retire, how to save for retirement, and even if working in retirement is possible are all questions Fidelity's retirement report dives into year after year. Retirement is becoming more complex with more things to consider, and while some groups like pre-retirees are feeling more challenged than others, financial planning remains the biggest differentiator Fidelity sees in its survey. Joining me in studio now to highlight key trends and takeaways from this year's retirement report is Director of Tax and Retirement Research, Michelle Munro. Welcome, Michelle.
Great to be here. Thanks for having me, Emily.
Wonderful to have you here. Another year, another annual retirement report, hot off the presses right here.
Hot off the presses. Here we have a printout of it.
Wonderful.
It's our annual retirement survey.
Expand on it. Tell me what the retirement survey is all about. Who is surveyed and what themes are
So Fidelity's been
covered?
surveying Canadians on retirement for 21 years. So we look coast to coast Canadians. We're focused on pre-retirees who are 45 and older, as well as retirees. So we're looking for behaviors, perspectives, trends. And because we've been doing it for so long, we can see longitudinal insights, as well as we can weave in some questions to really get a feeling of how are Canadians feeling today.
Absolutely. Let's get straight into it. What are some key findings and trends from this year's report, Michelle?
Well,
Yeah,
Emily,
lots, I'm sure.
Look, there's a lot of things. So let's talk. We have AI. We have the media reel is going around constantly. Thinking about government programs, CPP, old age security, decumulation. Maybe I'll start off with AI first.
That was an interesting question. That more, is it pre-retirees are looking to AI to help with their financial planning?
Yes. So we found more pre-retirees than retirees. But pre-retirees about 26% had used AI in the last year. Retirees about 11%. I thought that was a bit of a low percentage, actually, but also focusing that our pre-retirees start at age 45. So if we had started, if our scope was 35, 25, I think that percentage would be up. Yeah. So we looked at that and we sort of asked them, well, do you rely on it? Well, have you used it? Yes. What are we using it for?
Right.
Well, looking about financial markets. How do you understand the media reel? How much do I need in retirement? There's a whole plethora of things when it comes to finances. Then we asked, well, how confident do you feel? Because this is important stuff. And the answer by and large is not super confident.
Okay.
And then do you act on it? And the answer is no. Few Canadians are acting on it. Financial advisors continue to be their most trusted source when it comes to financial planning.
Now, as we know, Michelle, Canadians are battling a lot in this current market environment, inflation, higher interest rates. How is that all impacting retirement plans for Canadians in general?
Well, we looked at big picture, thinking about the outlook when it comes to retirement. And what we see is that the newsreel is having an impact where people are feeling less positive, particularly pre-retirees are feeling less positive. And when we looked in the pre-retiree group, women are even feeling less positive. So thinking about, well, the newsreel does have an impact on how Canadians are feeling, like that optimism.
Yeah.
When it comes to retirement planning, it does have an impact. But we also found that the elixir, if you will, is having a written financial plan.
There you go.
Those who have a written financial plan feel more positive. So if the things that are happening, what's going on with the economy, geopolitical, inflation, etc., feeling more positive as you get those newsreels is really having that written financial plan helps with that.
And I know year after year in the report, that positive outlook on retirement coupled with the written financial plan, higher and higher in those percentages. Let's get to it, Michelle. What is involved in a written financial plan?
Okay, so thinking about a written financial plan, and everybody's different, but some of the key components are thinking about, well, what does retirement look like for you? Like, do you want to travel?
We'd love to travel. We'd love to maybe have a second home, a vacation home. those
So
sorts of things.
travel is the number one
Oh,
answer.
okay.
But even within that, you're thinking, okay, well, what does travel look like?
Right.
Is it something economical, maybe car driving across Canada? Maybe it's multiple high-end luxury trips. So thinking, well, I'm going into this detail is because how much do you plan on spending in your retirement?
Huge key.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then thinking about, well, what are the different income sources to help cover that? Well, you have government sources, maybe you have some workplace sources, and then your personal savings, which also leads into, and this is where people really focus on, how much do I need in retirement? What does that nest egg number look like? Well, it really depends how much you're going to spend in retirement, how long are you going to live, as well as what are your other income sources. So there's a lot of things to be thinking about, but those are the most common ones.
Absolutely. And what I found really interesting in this year's report is the focus on decumulation. So we talk a lot about different streams of income in your retirement, and as the years go on, you're accumulating that income, hopefully. But there was a few questions on decumulation and the strategies around that. If you can expand on that, Michelle.
Right, exactly. So we as an industry have focused so much on saving and investing. If you work for, say, 40 years, it's a real long game. And then you move into retirement, and now you've saved in your RRSP, you've saved in your TFSA, and we use all these acronyms, maybe your non-registered account. So now where do you pull from first in a sustainable way, a tax-efficient way, with the trying to improve the longevity of that nest egg, so it will last for the entirety of your retirement?
Absolutely. Going back to the written financial plan, I want you to expand on just the value of advice. And we've talked about this in previous Upside shows, and I know it's talked about in the report, the value of sticking with a financial advisor and revisiting your plan at every chapter and big transition in your life. Explain the importance of that.
So life happens, right? In addition to the newsreel that we talked about, just life happens. People get married, people have children, buy homes, maybe buy a second home, vacations, what have you. And you want to fund your life as well as planning for retirement. So how do you do all of those things? Well, it comes down to having a written financial plan, working with a financial advisor. We say financial advisor, but it's really a coach because it's instructional. Save here, invest in this, X amount from each paycheck, whatever. But it's also because life happens, bumps happen along the way, and sticking to that plan. That's where, and whether or not that plan is from your own life or maybe it's the newsreel that's happening, sticking to that plan is where you'll really reap the rewards and really getting through all those bumps in life.
Michelle, it seems like the journey from pre-retiree to retiree in the past has looked like, let's say for my parents' generation, working for one company for 30 plus years, then retiring, then getting their pension, and off they go. Is that still the case, or is that changing now?
A lot to unpack here. So the short answer is no. It does not look like that anymore. First of all, pre-retirees often work for different companies, responsible more for their own retirement savings. What we also see is that pre-retirees are now saying, oh, looking for a later retirement date. Then the other trend that we're seeing is that it's more of a phased-in approach, where somebody will retire from their primary profession, not quite ready for that retirement full-time option. So what we're seeing more of a phased-in or gradual approach, where someone will work part-time, maybe be self-employed. Okay, so having that more control. And I think one of the reasons behind that is because we've had the opportunity to work from home, more flexible work options. So that's really seen an increase of those people who, all the synergies really align for those who want to have more of a gradual, phased-in approach to retirement. So they're able to do that more and more.
Now, Michelle, you've been part of the retirement team here at Fidelity for many years. You've seen this report and this survey go through many evolutions. What major trends have stood out to you in this year's report?
Well, there's been quite a few things. So thinking about, we talked about decumulation, because I think as an industry, we focus so much on the saving, accumulating.
Right.
So how do we decumulate that? And so helping Canadians think about and plan for living in retirement, working with a financial advisor, having that written financial plan, that is setting them up for success.
What stood out to me was that pre-retirees, not as positive of an outlook on retirement, but there was a phrase where when they are actually transitioning to retirement and living it instead of imagining it, there's an even more positive outlook on it.
Yes. So when we looked at just the overall outlook on retirement, pre-retirees felt less positive than retirees. Yeah. So as the pre-retirees become retirees, I expect that they'll become more positive, where people who are living in retirement just feel more positive.
Michelle, how can investors take this report and help them through their retirement planning?
So we talked about everybody's retirement journey there's going to be some slight differences, but that's where there's really something for everybody in their retirement report. Whether you're planning for retirement, if it's decades away, or it's just a few years away, or you're into retirement, what does that look like? Things that you're thinking about, concerns that you might have, and how you can really, you're not alone in this journey, because other Canadians are going through it, working with a financial advisor. As well as Fidelity, we're here sharing their insights in a report. Plus on fidelity.ca, there is a plethora of articles that really get into some of the details that we touch upon in the report.
And to branch off of that, why do financial advisors and planners seek the Fidelity Retirement Report year after year? What are they getting out of it?
Well, I think it's just they're getting the key insights to really help them think about and plan for retirement.
Absolutely. Right. And just overall, Michelle, the key takeaways from this year's Fidelity Retirement Report, what can investors take from it?
So the importance of having a written plan. It will help you feel better prepared financially, but also emotionally, socially, and physically, which are 4 pillars of overall well-being, which comes from having a written financial plan. And those who have those written financial plans, well, they're more likely to have worked with an advisor, as well as they're more likely to feel more positive as the negative newsreel keeps on coming, as well as sticking to their plan for their own retirement success.
Absolutely. Michelle, thank you so much for visiting us today. Congratulations on all the work on the retirement report this year, and thanks for your time.
Thank you.
And thank you for tuning into this special episode of The Upside as we uncovered key trends from this year's retirement survey. To learn more about Fidelity's annual retirement report, just visit fidelity.ca. And for more investor content, be sure to subscribe to Fidelity Canada's YouTube channel. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks for listening to, or watching, Fidelity Canada's The Upside podcast. Subscribe on your podcast platform of choice so you don't miss an episode. And if you like what you're hearing, please leave a review or a 5-star rating. Fidelity mutual funds and ETFs are available by working with a financial advisor or through an online brokerage account. Visit fidelity.ca/howtobuy for more information. While on fidelity.ca, you can also find more information on future live webcasts. And don't forget to follow Fidelity Canada on LinkedIn, YouTube, Instagram, or X. We'll wrap things up today with a quick disclaimer. The views and opinions expressed on this podcast are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect those of Fidelity Investments Canada ULC or its affiliates. This podcast is for informational purposes only and should not be construed as investment, tax, or legal advice. It is not an offer to sell or buy or an endorsement, recommendation, or sponsorship of any entity or securities cited. Read a fund's prospectus before investing. Funds are not guaranteed. Their values change frequently and past performance may not be repeated. Fees, expenses, and commissions are all associated with fund investments. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time.